Hey, it's Phil Bruce here, and in today's video, what I want to talk about is reflecting on things, the importance of taking self-reflection and how it can help you with your goals, your short, medium and long-term goals. So, when we're on about reflecting, what do we mean by it? Now, to put it simply, we are looking at reflecting on how the day's gone. So what things have you done? What things have you achieved? What things have gone well? What things have got not so well? And also what things you haven't done. So you're looking at it both in the positive and you could say the negative, but you're looking at ways that it could help you out. You're looking at things that you could analyse from your activities, from the things you've done, in order to keep on improving, in order to become more successful, in order to achieve more things. Now, when it comes to reflecting, it doesn't have to be this big, long-lasting thing. It doesn't have to be pages and pages of documents. It doesn't have to be hours and hours of thinking about it. It could literally be 5 minutes brainstorming in your head at night. So, you know, an easy way to do it is before you go to bed, before you're going to sleep, you could just lie there, you could sit there and you can think to yourself, what things have I managed to achieve today? What things are being done? And what have I learned from it? So if I was to give an example, again, just looking at yesterday, looking at last night before I went to bed, before I went to sleep, the kind of things that I took, the highlights, the points, are things that achieved were that I taught my classes. So I delivered my spin class, I did a good weight session, I did my chair-based fitness session for the residents at the care home, one of the care homes that I deliver at. I managed to pick my car up that had been fixed, so I managed to get that in the afternoon. Spent time with Tammy and the kids and did some of that. Also managed to do a bit of reading of the book that I'm reading at the moment, which is the Freddie Flintoff autobiography. Managed to watch a bunch of amateurs as well, which again, I'm learning football and coaching from that. Managed to spend a bit of time with the parents as well, and Eddie Dog too. So you look at those things and you think there's actually quite a bit that I managed to do there. Managed to post on social media as well to keep building the content. And because yesterday was a Thursday, it was about the Throwback Thursday kind of segment that we did there. Also managed to post into the WhatsApp group for my women's football team that I manage, Sandbach United Women, talking about the training session that we did on Wednesday and reflecting on that and the points to help us towards the game next week and training next week. So again, as you can see, plenty of little micro things, little things that have been achieved that are helping to take us forward for the short, medium and longer term, if you put that and you compound that together. I also had a look at the things that I thought that I could have done better at. So for example, it's one of these where when I was picking the car up from the garage, somebody had decided to park the car and block the car park, which ends up being a bit annoying, so you get a bit frustrated at that. But again, it was then looking at thinking, well, I can't control it. It's how do I keep my temper? How do I keep my cool with that? What could I do instead? So could I listen to something educational in the car instead of getting frustrated, or make a phone call that could be purposeful towards something that I'm doing, whether it be with work, my football, whatever it is. Again, another thing is one of these, could I have added in a couple of exercises for the chair-based class that is a bit different than usual, you know, just to keep them on their toes a little bit more, just to add something into there. It could have been as well, could I have fitted in the self-hypnosis stuff that I tried to do in an afternoon, because I felt like I didn't have the time to do that. But if I'd have shifted one or two things, I probably could have fitted that in. So you can see in those ways there were things that I thought that I could have done better at, or you know, improved at. And to be honest with that, it was just literally thoughts in my head. I didn't write it down. I just literally thought that in my head. I kind of reflected on the day, and then it just allows you to clear your mind, and it allows you to be able to then go to sleep, have a decent night's sleep, rather than not worrying, but rather than overly thinking about the day and thinking about what things could be improved. And just by doing those things, it allows me to feel positive, in the sense that I'm allowed myself to be able to see what I've achieved. It's also given me targets, goals and aims that I could keep on doing in order to improve myself, in order to make the next time better, or the next day better. And you will find as well that you will never have the perfect day. You will always find there is something that you could have done better. There is always something that you could do to strive for. So when you are reflecting and you think about it on a negative, or you think about it on what I could do to improve, it's try to be mindful in thinking that it's not a bad thing that something hasn't happened or you haven't done something. It's there to try and help you get better. It's to try and improve things. It's to try and make your future better. It's to try and look in the way that I can go forward, the direction that I can step. And it's using the stuff like that to take it into a positive realm, into a positive direction. Now, as I say, if it's something that you worry about and think, right, I'm going to forget what I was thinking about at night, I might fall asleep and I forget about it in the morning, what you could do is you could just get a little piece of paper or a notepad, put in 2 or 3 good points, 2 or 3 points to improve on, or you could put more good points, and you could literally put 1 point if you think by looking at yourself that way it might knock your confidence. You could just start with one thing to try and improve on, one aspect to look at that you could do better. And then as you feel like you can let go and you feel like you can be easier on yourself, then you can come up with more points to improve. So you can write them notes, you can put it on your phone. Again, it could be at the end of the week. You could have another one where I tend to do it on a Sunday evening, and I kind of just think, well, how's my week gone? What could I do in the next week that I've learned from the week just gone to improve it? So there might be elements that have gone well. There might be things in the week where, I don't know, for example, I've tried something different with my nutrition or my training, and I've picked that up and learned from it. So in the next week, I could adapt that and do exactly the same to help me to progress. Or it could be I listened to something that I found enjoyable, so I could subscribe to that channel, and I could then listen to it the next week. So there's things to take from that about on a weekly basis that I can look to incorporate into the next week. So that does help. It does help to look at the weekly scale as well as the daily scale. Again, if you wanted to even longer term, you could break it down to the end of each month, and you could think, like, what have I got from the month on the whole? Have I managed to do X, Y, and Z or not? So again, let's put an example for me. I tend to use the earlier months in the year, January, February, March, let's give those examples. It could be doing more coursework because it's colder outside, so I'll tend to do the coursework on my laptop. It could also be that I'm trying to, I was trying to bulk, put more muscle on, so put more weight on. And then in the other months, like now the summer months, it can be looking more at trimming, leaning down, because I know my body will be on show more in the summer, and I look to then do more shoots during the spring and summer months to kind of work with that physique and build from there. So that kind of then gives me those points to reflect on and aim for. But yeah, I thought just putting this video out about the importance of reflection, the simplicity of reflection as well, because it is literally a simple thing that you could do, and it needs to take a couple of minutes each day, or if you did want to go into more detail, you can. And it can really help you to step forward. It can really help you to identify what things can be improved as well. And it's also a great way of getting to know yourself a bit more. by reflecting on the habits and the things that you've achieved and the things that you've done. So yeah, I hope you found this video useful. As always, I love hearing from you, whether it's been you subscribing, comments, messages that I receive on my social media platforms. Honestly, I always love hearing from you and always love trying to help in any way that I can. So I hope you're having a great week so far. Sending my love and best wishes as always. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. So until then, take care, have a good one, and I will see you later. Bye for now.